Now it says live.
We are live. It's another episode of Real Chill Conversations. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Our topic for tonight was we were going to talk about if it's ever too late to start over, whether it be a new career, a new relationship, making a move to a new state or a new city or whatever else. And then this story came up in the news about this woman that went missing, Carlee Russell. She went missing after she allegedly reported that she saw a toddler on the highway, and she was gone, and none of her family could find her. So we're going to talk about that first, and then we'll get into our original topic of is it ever too late to start over? So why don't you lead us into the description of this lady, Miss Carlee Russell, that did a disappearing act on us out in Alabama?
Okay, well, I can definitely do that. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Um, we had to change things up a little bit today,
Yeah.
but Carlee Russell, I believe she came up missing on July 13th around 9:34 p.m. in Hoover, Alabama. Um, said it was stated that she saw a toddler walking on the side of the freeway, so she stopped. Well, she called the 911, uh,
Right.
911 first, and let them know that she had seen a toddler walking on the side of the freeway. So after that call, um, I did have questions about that call because I don't know how you would just hang up with somebody after seeing something like that.
Right.
But then she was on the phone with a family member,
Yes.
and it came out that the family member actually heard her ask the child, "Was there okay?" And
Yeah.
then boom, there was a scream.
Right.
So they were unable to find her, any child. The police reported that there was no missing child report that had been reported.
And didn't they also state that they found her car, her door was open and her car was still running with her phone on the ground?
Yes, and it was a wig they found, and
Yeah.
her phone, her Apple
Apple
iWatch,
Watch.
if
Her
I'm not
Apple Watch was in her
mistaken.
purse. Yeah, her
Her
Apple Watch was
car
in
was
her
still
purse.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was like when it first came out, I was very stunned at the fact that somebody could actually, bait a woman with a child on the side of the freeway just to kidnap her.
Right.
So, but I did have questions about that as well because I was like, well, it would be very hard to train a toddler to do that type of stuff. Like I know if my toddler is on the freeway, everybody gonna see him.
Right.
Like,
Right. And
more
there's
people could
traffic
actually stop.
calls. There's so much that's going on. It's like, when you're a toddler, you have so much stimulation that's going on with the highway. You don't know, you might run into the road. I mean, there's just a lot. So it just seemed like that was it was a very scary thing. Number one, for a toddler to be in danger and missing, and for her to report that. But then the way that the phone call ended, where she's being heard asking if the child is okay, and then hearing a scream, and then the phone going silent to just sounds of the highway. And then for her car to be found running, her car door was open, wig on the ground, phone on the ground, purse in the car, Apple Watch in the purse. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, her belongings were found. So that was like very odd to me. And like you said, I mean, it's very odd for a toddler to be on the side of the freeway and then only one person can see them.
Right. Right.
Like I would definitely be trying to, wave down anybody else that could help me. Cause of
Absolutely.
course, you know, women, us as women, our instinct is get out and help the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may not do it,
Right.
but I know that I would.
Right.
But I would definitely ask for assistance. Like I'm not just, you know what I'm saying, throw myself out there. It was a lot of cars actually when the police showed the footage of a car that seemed to be her car.
Yeah.
And again, all this is speculation at
Mhm.
what we have seen and what we have heard.
Right.
But you know, it seemed like she had her hazard lights on and she was already on the side of the freeway driving up. And I was just like, that would have been a pretty long time to even try to notice a child.
Right. Yeah.
It was so pitch black
Yeah.
that I don't know. I had questions about that too because it was just like odd, you know, for somebody to be driving that far back, unless she saw the child and she circled back around and try to remember where saw the child at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it was said that she had just got off work. She was, you know, grabbing a bite
Bringing
to
some
eat for
food.
her mom.
Yeah.
There was a witness that came forward saying, a truck driver saying that he saw a gray vehicle parked like in front of her car. And it was like a lighter skinned man with shorts on
Mm-hmm.
standing outside of her car.
Mm.
So, you know, there was a reward that was offered for
Yeah.
on this case. And
Yeah.
I think people kept pitching in, kept pitching. I don't think it was a GoFundMe specifically, but it was a, you know, link to where you can add
Donate.
to the reappearance of Carlee Russell.
Right. Now she made it back safely. So she just walked back up to her parents' house and was like, okay, I'm home.
Yeah, all that is very sketchy. It's a great thing to hear that she made it back home. You know, that's wonderful. We wanted that. You
Right.
know? Um, but yeah, it's a lot of holes into this story. So you know, it's very sketchy to me. It's like I feel like, you know, the police was not even looking for kidnappers and a
Mm-hmm.
child at this point.
Right.
So there was an update from the police saying that, you know, she has made it back home.
Yep.
She knocked on the front door. Her parents got her back, and she was sent to UAB, I guess, for evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as police goes in their investigation, the first thing they said was, you know, she's back home now. That's the first thing we wanted.
Right.
But as far as the investigation goes, they were like, you know, we just gonna have to wait on it.
So there's no detail about this toddler. Like there's no toddler that has been reported missing. There's nobody that's lost a child that's put in a police report that can line up with the events that happened with Carlee Russell. Like there's no corroborating information that matches up with a missing toddler or someone having lost their baby. Is that the case?
Right. That's the case.
So yeah.
Nobody reported a child missing. So it's definitely obviously no child missing because they would have, you know, did
Right.
everything in their precautions to actually find a child that was missing.
Right. Right.
Um the actual footage that was revealed to the public. Now I do know that of course they're not going to reveal all the information that they have. I'm
Yeah.
sure they have a real good glimpse of the footage, but the footage that was put out to the public was, I'm not gonna lie, trashy.
Right.
Trashy. I
Right.
mean, you know, people started speculating, oh, I see something moving. I saw a lot of things moving too that could have been a person, you
Yeah.
know, but it could have also been reflections of the cars.
Right. That's
Because
true.
I don't know anybody that is that tall to make a reflection on a sign.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
her being taken to UAB for evaluation. Do they think that she had some type of like mental break that she just, needed some assistance because she was having a mental health crisis, or did they have her, taken to UAB for evaluation because she had been missing for a couple of days and nobody knew what kind of condition or state she was in, or if she had gone through anything? Is there any further clarification on that?
No, there's not.
There's not. Wow. I mean, that really
Not.
it was definitely a frightening story, and it was something that was scary because a lot of times when we find out about people that are missing, or we get reports that people are missing, and we put alerts to put out on social media, and people reshare that information, and everybody's on the lookout, and everybody's on the hunt to try to find that person. Unfortunately, we don't always get this happy ending where the person is found, and they're found and they're safe. So of course it's wonderful news that she's found and she's safe, but there's more to this story, and we want to know.
I don't think she was actually found. I think
Yeah,
she just made her way home.
yeah,
Like, I think the police actually found her.
right. Well,
Just
yeah,
because,
they're not going to have her just knock on her door. The police would have escorted her home if she was found by the police. They would have escorted her home. They would have contacted her parents to let them know, hey, your daughter is found. We have her. We're bringing her home, or you can come down to the station or pick her up, or we're going to send her to UAB. Why don't you meet us over at UAB, and we can further discuss it there. You're not just going to knock on the door after being gone for 2 days, and have the police just be like, "Oh yeah, she's fine."
I mean, I saw the footage of that the police put out, and honestly, I mean, we can, speculate that we can make something out of it. They did say that there was like a car tire kind of print, like on the grass and
Some
stuff. But they
car
couldn't
tracks,
really
yeah, car
tell
tire
because it was
tracks,
not muddy, so they
yeah,
didn't know what kind of car it was or anything like that.
right,
But the fact that the police is not looking for kidnappers and a child, that's very concerning to me, because this whole situation, the way it played out as there was a child missing. You know what I'm saying? It played out the child was on the side of the road, and there was a kidnapper on
yeah,
the side of the road.
yeah, frightening, very, 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 very
So
frightening.
that definitely, when I heard about the story, because I remember me calling you and I was just
Yeah,
like, are you serious? We can't even help now because
right,
something may happen to us.
yeah,
Like, but then again, I thought about who would keep that baby so well trained on the side of the freeway not to walk into the freeway. Everybody would have stopped.
right, exactly, exactly.
And I've drove down 459 before. Like, I
Mhm.
know that road.
You know
So
that road.
it's like it's very dark unless you
Mhm.
have your bright lights on and you can actually see some.
Oh
Like,
wow,
I'm pretty sure that a lot of more people would have stopped.
yeah,
If I would
yeah,
have been like, hey, there's the baby here.
yeah,
Wave down, come help me. Let's see what's going on.
yeah.
But I don't know. Um,
I don't know
I
either.
think I've been seeing like social media really blowing up on
Yes,
this case, because there were a lot of people who shared this story in their
yeah,
platforms. There was a lot of people that made it go viral.
yep. And a
Um,
lot of people that made very substantial donations, to try to ensure for her safe return. So, there's that as well. I mean, people were really going out of their way to try to make sure that this young lady was found, and she was brought home, safely, and brought home alive, and not, having lost her life due to, being abducted or something like that. So, it's just frightening. But regardless of, the situation overall, I just hope that, her checkup with UAB turns out to be okay. And if there's something or an issue that she has and she needs to work through it, that she gets the help that she needs, so that she continue to live her life, without any trouble.
yeah, because a lot of people is wanting answers as well as to what really happened. I think I see their perspective of,
Mhm.
wanting to know what happened, but the family did ask for privacy.
Yeah,
So, I mean, you could just only respect that.
right.
At some point, the police, I'm sure they'll finish off their investigation because um, it is making Hoover look real bad
Mm,
in a way. Like, this was the story. So,
right.
where's the rest of the story?
Exactly.
You
And
know,
I think that's where we are as people is we just want to know what is the story, because we pitched in, we reposted, we shared, the flyer, we shared the information. We're out here, praying for her and hoping for her safe return. And then, she's back, but we don't have any further explanation. It's like we all were invested in this story. We had, something in us was invested in her safe return. We wanted to see that she was going to be found safely and to be found alive. And yes, it's wonderful that she was returned home alive, and she's safe. Now she's under the care of UAB, but now we just want answers as to, okay, well, what happened? And I think that's just normal human nature, because whenever there's a situation with an abduction or a kidnapping or someone goes missing, we usually get an explanation as to what happened and what's gone on. But, I can certainly understand the family asking for privacy at this time. I mean, maybe she's having some type of mental health crisis and they want to just, keep things calm and keep things quiet for her so that she can successfully and healthfully recover from whatever it is that she might be going through that might have led to her disappearance, because that's what I'm going to label it, is as a disappearance for 2 days. She disappeared for a couple of days. And as an adult, I've learned, watching many mystery crime show and television crime show, as an adult, you do have the right to disappear. It's not illegal for you to disappear. Yes, it's upsetting to your family and your friends when your family member and your family members and your friends don't know where you are and they can't make contact with you. And if her phone was found by her car and her Apple Watch was found by her car, that she didn't have any way to communicate with anybody. And as she was allegedly at the Red Roof Inn, maybe she just wanted to take a couple days to herself and not be bothered with anybody. But that's just me speculating. I would just hope that, regardless of what it is that she's going through, she gets the help that she needs.
absolutely. But I also would like for the police department to actually come out and say what it is too, because if there is a kidnapper out there that's luring women with
Right.
kids and stuff, I believe the public should know that.
Exactly. We should. We have every
So
right.
they would know, you know what I'm saying? Hey, don't do this. And there's someone out there taking women, this, that, and the other. But the fact that they didn't come out and say that gives me more of a reason to believe maybe this is not what we thought it was from.
Right. That's something else. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll switch gears and get into our topic for tonight, which is it ever too late to start over? And I asked this question, and I wanted to talk about this tonight because a lot of us are finding ourselves in periods of transition, and we're in a state where there's a lot of change and there's a lot of disruption that might be going on in our lives. Whether it's, the loss of a job, whether it's the ending of a relationship, whether you're going through a divorce, whether you're going through, having to make a move to another area because things just aren't working out for you financially. I asked the question, is it ever too late to start over? Because I wanted to really get some insight and get some perspective on people that have gone through different situations and how they've been able to overcome them. Because I don't think that, people understand that we go through a lot of things. We go through a lot of things, and we don't necessarily talk about all the things that we're going through because we don't want to be judged and we don't want to be labeled, or we're in our feelings or we feel bad or whatever the case may be. And I wanted to get kind of, spin this in a more positive direction and say that I don't think that it's ever too late to start over, But when you go through something and you're going through a change, no matter what that change is, there are opportunities for you to start again and for you to have a new beginning. And so I don't think that it's ever too late for that. But when I asked the question, some people answered that yes, there is a certain time frame where they feel like it's too late to start over. So I wanted your input and wanted your insight on that. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's ever too late to start over. As long as you're capable and you're able and you have faith, then I think you can. Why not?
Right.
I mean, I'll put it into this perspective. Like, you need new goals. Like, the goals you had 10 or 15 years ago will probably not be the same goals that you have now. So to
Exactly.
me, it sounds good, change, rewrite your story, your chapter, whatever you want to call it. So if things are not fulfilling you, why can't you start over? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, as long as you're able to start over and you're still here, you know what I'm saying? Why not? I mean, we are steadily making new goals. And I mean, I believe that is our part of our motivation to keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we have to have something
Yes.
substantial to push us to the point
Forward.
where we want change.
Yeah.
Some people, I know, before I moved to Georgia, I lived in Alabama.
Hmm.
So it was it was like, I was like, well, if I move to Georgia, I don't know nobody. I don't know nothing there. I don't have a job there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I was in my comfort zone
Right.
when I lived in Alabama, because I knew people, I was already accustomed to everything. So
Hmm.
me moving to a new place, it was like I didn't know. Like, it took me, I'm not gonna lie, it took me some months to actually, say yes to that, because people like to feel comfortable.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're used to what we're used to. And when we
Yeah.
step out of that, it's like we just attempt to think negative about it. But actually, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it was a negative thing. I feel like sometimes we need to make those moves. If you feel like you need to make a move to move to another state, it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be Georgia, California, whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever you decide to go and your intuition leads you there, you should try it, because you never know what type of blessings you're blocking away from your life. Like, you want to make those moves, you want change.
Yeah.
Staying in the same thing sometimes can hinder you. And
Yeah.
then we wonder why we're not moving forward, or what's going on, like why we haven't, went to the next stage of our lives, because you keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's not working.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And when I moved to Georgia, gosh, I think it's been 13 years now. I didn't know anybody here in Georgia. I didn't know anybody in Atlanta. I didn't, I knew nobody. And I was stepping into a career that I, I didn't know the people who I was going to be working with until I got here and things like that. But I needed that move because I was getting stagnant with where I was, and I just felt like my life was just, I just felt stuck. And so the challenge of moving to a whole nother state and a whole nother city, to be in a situation where I didn't have family, I didn't have friends, I didn't have anybody already established here. It was a very scary thing, but I don't regret the decision at all. I'm glad that I made that decision because I've built so many new connections and so many new friendships and friends that I consider my family, that live here now. But if I had never done that and I had stayed in Virginia just because I was afraid to move somewhere where I didn't know anybody, I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I've had, living here in Georgia. And I've been blessed with a lot of great opportunities and some wonderful experiences. And I look at it as though, if I had just stayed, stagnant in Virginia, I wouldn't have experienced those things. And then you don't want to ever have your life, and you're looking at your life and you don't ever want to have a life of regret. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. Stepping out on a limb, yes, there's fear that's there, and it's natural for you to be nervous and for you to have a little bit of anxiety or what have you. But you got to just go ahead and just to give yourself that little push and go ahead and do it. And you'll be surprised. I think it'd be
And
surprised.
listen, nothing can be more hindering than regret. I feel
Right.
like when you don't get to do the things that you want to do, um, it just makes you feel a certain type of way, and you don't want to be
Absolutely.
feeling like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If even if it's a new relationship, new career, you know what I'm saying? Like, just do it. If you
Yeah.
want to do it, and you feel it in your heart to do it, I say just do it. Just start over.
Yep.
No one said you're 40, you can't start your life over
Right.
and have a new
Nobody's
relationship.
nobody's saying
Uh,
that. And
you
there's
know what? Actually, I think that's a prime age, and
yeah.
the reason I say that is because we catch ourselves get into relationships in our teens,
Mhm.
in our 20s,
Right.
and we still have not matured enough to
Right.
know what a real relationship is. So we go through all this all this pain, all this hurtful things that go on in the relationship. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Because you have two people together that has
Right.
not even matured. They're learning together, they're growing together. And
Right.
by all means, if it's working for you and if it's not so toxic to the point where you can't see the good in the relationship, then
Right.
do it.
Right.
But I feel like people in their 35, as far as even going further as 35 and more,
Yeah.
they've seen all these things.
Yeah.
So, you know, you pretty much gonna probably run into somebody more mature
Yeah.
versus unless that person just didn't change. And
Right.
they kept being, you know, the same 20-year person they always want to be. And I outgrew that, of
Yeah,
course.
I think we've all outgrown situations. I mean, especially if you've been in a situation where you've been in a long-term relationship, 10 years plus with someone. You're like, but we've been together for 10 years. We've been together for 15 years. So, it
Don't
what that mean? Are you happy in that 10 years, in that 15 years? Is it working for you in that 10 years or that 15 years? If it's not working for you, then it's time to move on. And it's not too late. And it doesn't matter how old you are or how long that you were with that person. When I hear people try to rationalize why they stay in a situation that makes them unhappy, a lot of times that's one of the first things that they say is, well, we've been together for 10 years or we have 15 years invested into this relationship. Okay, and
but you want to go 15 years more?
right.
And then, it's going to come to a point where you're going to be a little bit too old to, do certain things. You know, it's never too late, but I'm just saying, like,
Right. Right.
is
You don't want to be 75 and looking at your clock like, okay, now it's time for me to finally break the ties with that person. But if you need to do that, then go on ahead because there is a dating app called Our Time, and it's for people that are above a certain age, for the older folks that want to get out there and want to start and try to find love again after being with someone for 25, 30, 40 years.
absolutely. And don't settle for life if you don't want to keep doing the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
just change it up. Be positive about it. It's never too late to grow and feel good again. I mean, you have to be committed to whatever it is that you want to do in life.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I didn't think, I was gonna leave my relationship and actually, try to start all over again and
Hmm.
do so many things. I was like, I have 5 kids. Who gonna want me? You know, like I might as well be by myself. But then I got to a point in my life where I started speaking life over me, because you do have to do that.
Yeah,
If you're steadily being negative about what could happen in your life, then that's what you're going to get. If
exactly.
you're being positive, and I, you know, God knows how many times I spoke to him and said, God, the next man you send in my life, he going to have to be God sent,
Right,
period.
right,
Like, I'm not, I'm not trying to start, and I wasn't trying to start over. I wasn't trying to do none of that. I was trying to just live my life, and
hmm
whatever comes comes. But I was
hmm
focusing on my money, on my kids, on me, on my health, my well-being, because I
right,
fell into a really bad place where I had to get myself out of by myself.
right,
Nobody helped me,
right.
so you just have to be committed to change. You have to be willing to accept the change. And I feel
Yeah,
like people should understand that.
yeah,
You know, if you're in a really toxic relationship and you want to stay there, that's because you chose to stay there.
hmm
You know, I mean, it's not easy to
no,
walk away,
no.
but it's up to you at the end of the day, because it's your life.
hmm
So if you're steadily in the same situation, the same drama, and you're going through the same thing over and over and over again,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you gonna do about it?
right. And I think that the same thing can be said too in terms of your career or in terms of your job. I mean, if you're working for somebody else, you're working for a company and a corporation, and then that you lose that job, you don't have that job any longer.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a loss, and yes, it's impactful to your life. But at the same token, it's also another opportunity for another door to open that may be of even more of beneficial value to you. So, with that being said, it gives you time to really rethink your goals in terms of career and how do you want to go about, making money? What type of industry do you want to be in? What kind of work do you want to do? Now maybe is the time for you to be able to focus on starting your business and being an entrepreneur, and you don't have to worry about the clock and checking in with the manager and asking if you can have this day off or that day off, or you need to come in late this day, or you got to leave early that day because of other obligations that you have. I mean, it can also definitely be. I mean, it's disappointing and it's frustrating, especially when it's unexpected. But at the same time, you can take that and you can turn it into a positive and say, okay, now I have time. That the time that I would normally spend on my job from this time to this time, I can spend that time working on what I'm going to do next in my career. What am I going to do next in trying to establish a business for myself or to start the business that I've been talking about wanting to do, but I've just never had the time to do it because I was always busy at work.
Yes. So at that point, I know people worry about financial situations. Maybe you're not financially where you need to be. I
Yeah,
know I be like that sometimes. It's a lot of things that I want to do and
right.
I implement. But in the meantime, what I'm doing is writing them down. I'm
hmm
coming up with my plan.
Right,
So,
right.
that's a great thing to do because you're putting it on paper.
Yep.
Like you're putting it on paper. This is what you want. This is what you're looking forward to.
hmm
So when that blessing come and you're able to do it, boom, you got it on paper. You got your plan. This is what I am going to execute now.
Yeah.
This is me. This is all me. I wrote it down.
hmm
So you still want to be doing something,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, to motivate yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we lack on as human beings is it happens to me,
Yeah. It
like
happens to
it's
all
a
of us.
lot of times I just be like,
It
I
happens
don't
to
feel
all of
like
us.
doing this, I don't feel like doing that, but I always come back and I circle around to Dominique, you got to do what the hell you say you was gonna do.
Right. Right.
And I put it on paper because
Yeah.
I know it's gonna come. It's gonna come.
Putting it on paper, I think, is very important. If you believe in manifestation, if you believe in manifesting your dreams, And when you write stuff down, that's why a lot of times they tell you to keep like a notebook or a notepad by your bed. And when you have certain dreams, to write down certain elements of of your dreams, because in your dream state, a lot of your feelings that you have in your awake mode come through in your sleep state in the form of dreams. And a lot of times those dreams can be the manifestations. It can be showing you what your opportunities could be. And they can also give you ideas and things like that. And definitely when you put pen to paper and write things down, you're more likely to commit to it because you've written it down. It's been written, so it's been embedded in your brain. That's why whenever I'm doing anything, I take a lot of notes. And I take a lot of notes, and I've always been like this, since I was a kid in school, and taking a lot of notes,
Right.
because it helps me to remember, and it helps to keep me focused
Right.
on what my goal is.
And some people, you know, I'm a good example. I mean, some people don't want to change because, again, they fear change. But we
Right.
have to understand that no one can make our dreams come true but ourselves.
Right.
So we got to put in work. Manifestation, that's great. I love it because it's something that I have been learning to do.
Yeah.
I'm not a pro, no, I'm not, but it's definitely something that I do,
Yeah.
as far as where I want to go in life, what
Mhm.
I want. Again, I put it on paper. I speak it. The power of your tongue is very strong.
It is. It
So
absolutely is.
in reality, this is work that we have to do. So don't be afraid to start over. You never know what is waiting for you on the other side. So definitely don't be afraid.
Yeah. And I just want to bring this up. I know this hits the social media circuit, and people have been talking about it, but Kiki Palmer, and her attendance at Usher's concert, and then the fallout that she was getting from her baby daddy about the outfit that she wore, and him saying, "Well, you're a mother now. You shouldn't dress like that." And the debate on whether or not, at being a mom, does that mean you can't dress sexy? Let's talk about that for a little bit, because I thought that was very interesting, and I thought that she handled herself, very well. I don't think that she did anything wrong. She completely slayed that outfit. And just because you're a mom, that's not the only thing that you are in life. That's not the only thing that defines you. I have 3 kids. You have 5 kids. There's people that have 4 kids. People have 6 kids. People have 2 kids. Maybe some people only have the one child. But just because you're a mother doesn't mean that you're taken out from being able to do things in life and to have, something of your own that you can identify with other than being a parent.
Hey, I thought she looked good.
Look great. She looked great. I'm like, where'd she get that dress from? Where'd she get that dress from?
Listen,
Where'd she get that outfit from?
like that's so cute.
Mhm.
No, like seriously, I think people definitely went too far with it. The girl's not even married,
Right,
just dating
right.
somebody and had a baby by him.
Yeah,
So I think people take things a little bit too far. Like, you know, as far as okay, because they was like, oh, the way she was, like she seemed like more of a groupie to Usher. But you gotta understand, like Usher do this on all his concerts.
yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
part of his. It's part of his routine. It's part of his routine. It's part
and
of
who
his
don't
show.
like it? I mean, I love his songs. Like that was
Right.
one of my favorite singers,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like, but some people, they were like, well, he was like, I guess the way she was dressed, but I ain't seen nothing wrong with that
I
because
see
mommies
nothing
can
wrong
be
with it.
sexy too. I
Right.
mean, don't take that away from us because, like I said, there are some men out here that have been swear you can't go out looking sexy,
Right.
The first person they want to go cheat on with or look at is somebody who's looking sexy. So,
Exactly.
yeah, no,
Right. Right. You want me to look like a 1950s stay-at-home housewife,
no.
but you out here, in the streets, hooking up with these chicks, wearing less clothes than I wear to bed at night. I mean, it's like, the double standard that exists out here, and it's like, to me.
And it is you're right about that. It is a double standard
Mhm.
out here.
Mhm.
So people need to understand that. Like, you can't do that.
No.
Like, if you want your wife to dress a certain way and be a certain way, then you definitely can't be living the life of whatever you want to do.
Mm-mm.
You got to, meet somewhere halfway or in the, you, no, it just don't work like
Right.
that.
It don't work like that. And plus, as you said, they're not married. That's not her husband. But even if it was her husband, I would think her husband would be rooting for her, would be cheering her on. Like, look at my wife. She looks amazing. She just had our baby, a couple of months ago. She's going out on the town to go to a concert with some girlfriends to have a good time. Cheer her on.
Absolutely, because they were talking about how, she was talking about how so she was so self-conscious,
Yeah.
especially with being a celebrity. She needed to make sure that she looked good
Yep.
and all this and all that. I could completely understand that. So when she had her baby, it boosts her confidence up.
Right. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Because we
it's
go through
true.
that.
It can happen.
We go through that as moms. Our confidence goes down a little bit in how we look because
Maybe
because your body changes. Your body.
Maybe she didn't know she had a little booty, but when after she had the baby, and she put the outfit on. Now, you know what I'm
Now
saying?
she got a little something back there. Now
Yeah.
she got a little something back there. Well, I was here for it. I love the outfit, and like you were saying, like he does this at all the shows. I mean, they weren't talking about when he was serenading Taraji P Henson. Is that because she doesn't have any kids? And no, she does have a child, but her child is grown. He's an adult. But she's not married. Like, what? Why nobody said anything about that? He did the same thing to Sweetie. Like, why nobody said anything about that? Like, why are you picking on Kiki? And I think it's because it was her child's father that initially spoke out about it. That's what sparked everything off, and people, going in on the comments on what him saying, like, you're a mom now, you shouldn't dress like that. Like, he should have just never opened his mouth, and he should have just kept his mouth
I
shut.
just say you shouldn't make your woman feel like that. If you had an issue with it, first of all, the first mistake you did was bring it to social media.
Right.
You
Right.
could have easily talked to me behind closed doors.
Right.
We could have had a conversation. We could have,
Right.
you know, I could have sympathized with you a little bit more.
Right.
It came into some type of agreement.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of just putting on social media, like, this is, even though, this is somebody, okay, fine, that you had a baby by, you
Yeah.
had a problem with her outfit,
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. Nobody's saying you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But just go talk to her behind closed doors, because you see what happened. It just spurred out of control, and now everybody has something to say about it. Like,
Mm-hmm. But don't you think him having the reaction that he had is more of a him problem and not a Kiki problem? That's just kind of pointing out what
insecurity. You
his,
mean his
his
insecurities? Just
insecurities,
saying what it is.
his insecurities. Like, sir, what
Yeah.
you felt fine when she was 9 months pregnant and had the big old belly and the swollen feet and this, that, and the third, because you felt like she wasn't going to go nowhere. But she goes out for a night with friends to a concert and she looks amazing and she's getting all kinds of compliments. And now you
You
got a problem with how she dresses?
you know what? And let me mention this, because this is a very good point. And there was a time in my life where I didn't want to wear revealing clothes, because I felt like, oh, I'm married.
Right,
So, you know what I'm saying? I need to like cover myself up and stuff like that.
right,
But when I go out with my friends, it'll be a little bit more revealing.
right.
not to the point where you can see my nipples and all
Right.
that, but
Right.
it'll just be a little bit more revealing. Well, I got the backlash of, oh, you don't do that when we go out, you just do it when you go out with your friends. But I thought you wanted me to be a certain way.
Right.
So at this point, I'm confused.
I'm confused.
Like, so I'm supposed to dress, revealing when I'm with you, but you don't appreciate it because you don't even compliment me. But when I go out with my friends and I have a little cleavage out or whatever, it's a problem.
Right. Mm-mm.
Listen, I know how to behave myself. Okay.
Right. Right. I know how to conduct myself. I know how to handle myself out here in these streets. So nothing for you to worry about. But yeah, but I think you're right. If he had an issue with, he had a problem with it, that's a conversation that should have been had between the two of them. But at the same time, I really feel like he should have just left it alone, and he should just have been. He should feel proud that he's got a baby mama that looks as good as she does after having
Exactly. And
kids.
she look
You
good
know,
like that in that outfit. Yes.
uh-huh. He should have just been like, dang, she looked great. I'm happy for how my son's mother looks in her outfit and her attire, and she's looking good. All of that. Should have never brought it to social media and never made a big deal about it and never stated that, well, you're a mom now. Because I mean, that's a put down. I'm a mom now, and what? I'm a mom and I'm a working actress and singer in this industry. You know what business I'm in. You knew what business I was in when you met me. You knew what business I was in before we decided to get pregnant and have this baby. And I'm still gonna be me. And Kiki's very outspoken, so I'm sure, she's, spoken up about how she feels about certain things, that this wasn't a surprise to him, but he decided to take it to social media, which was his big mistake. He should have left it alone. He should have left it alone, not said anything except, babe, you look fantastic. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time. I got the baby. Have fun. Don't worry about a thing. Just go out and enjoy yourself. He should have just left it at that.
Absolutely.
We should have just left it at that. Well, that's all I have for us for tonight's episode. Do you have anything that you'd like to say in closing, Dominique?
All I can really say is you can't give up. I mean, you are more than capable. Never settle for less than what you're worth. And I mean, just keep fighting.
You have to. You have to just keep fighting. You have to stay positive, and you can't let the little hiccups, trip you up. I don't think it's ever too late to start over. I don't think it's ever too late if you have career goals and aspirations, things that you've been putting on hold that you haven't been able to do because you've been working that 9 to 5 job, and you no longer have that job. Now you have the time to focus on that. Now you have time to focus on whatever things you need to get done, whatever things you need to do in your life that you have had to put to the side because your job situation came first. So I'm just glad to know that, you also feel like it's never too late, because I don't think that it's too late. I don't think that you should age or put a label or a time frame on certain things. And yeah, whether you're starting a new relationship or you're ending a long term relationship, it's not too late. And don't get stuck in the amount of time that you invested into that situation. I don't want to hear it's been 10 years, it's been 15 years, it's been 20 years. So what? If you're not happy, if it's not working for you, are you going to invest another 10, 15, 20 years? No,
No.
you're not going to do it. And you shouldn't do it. So it's never too late. So that's all I have for us for tonight. Do you have our topic for next week that you're going to be talking about already? Or are you still working on it?
I'm still working on it, but I have maybe something real good coming. I think some artists are willing to come on the show.
Ooh,
So I
okay.
think that's pretty dope.
That is
Um,
dope.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
What we can do.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. Join the Facebook group so you can join us in the chat, because because we have little conversations, little topics and polls and questions and things that you can connect with us there. Also on our Instagram. And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So.